And we're live.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. I'm Dr. Weinstein with my co-host, Dr. Randi Ross. We're getting so much feedback on the new William David company that it's jumping to the slide automatically. This is amazing. But today's episode is brought to you by the William David Company, Rethinking Small Business Marketing. And if you've never been to their website, www.williamdavidcompany.com, you can get a free virtual engagement rating, which will tell you how effectively you are doing what you want to do. So make sure you visit williamdavidcompany.com. Also, we're brought to you today by Community Wellness Day. Every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day. The System, the official marketing coaching program for healthcare professionals everywhere. And of course, the VIP app, the only application that allows you to bring your live hangouts, just like this one, to the smartphones, tablets, and desktop of everyone that has you in their circles. Our apps look so good, people want to lick them. And of course, Google in 10 minutes, a step-by-step guide for everything Google for your business. Find out more at tinyurl.com/Google in 10. This week's episode, walk through every door because you never know what awaits you on the other side. With that said, here's my co-host, Dr. Randi.
Well, thank you, Dr. Allen. And I just might mention, to give you a little shameless plug, that my phone just was buzzing like crazy. And you know what that was?
Yes, I know what that was. That was your VIP app notifying you that we're live.
There you go. That's it. So we do what we teach. We never ask you to do anything that we don't do ourselves. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on today's Hangout. Let us know where you're hanging out from, if there happens to be a comment box where you're watching from. Well, today we're going to talk about something that I think is really pertinent. And, often, Dr. Allen, I come to these topics by things that are happening around me and that I think bear kind of mentioning, talking about, and integrating into this business model that we teach to everyone. And, especially if you're a little older, maybe this isn't something as kind of present to you if you happen to be a bit younger, but you often kind of look back and think, were there opportunities that were missed? And sometimes we actually are very hyper conscious and we go, wow, that was an amazing opportunity that happened for me. And if you think about that, some people say being in the right place at the right time, being lucky, being all these things. But I actually think that it's a little bit more than that. And it's something that you could train yourself to do a little bit. And, this is a topic we could probably talk for hours and hours about. So we're going to just go through, a couple of things. And I always say, how often do people will say, well, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know if that's worth my time. And, let me kind of preface this whole thing by saying, I understand you can't do everything because there are a limited amount of hours in the day. And sometimes we do have to pick and choose. But I think sometimes we're a little too picky. And because of that, that's one reason actually that we often miss opportunities. And, even, Dr. Allen, something that has happened to me recently that really made me very conscious of this concept of walking through doors. And Dr. Allen, if you want to show that slide, I'm going to tell you a little bit why also I think this is important. And I'm sure everyone knows that, unfortunately, we lost the great comedian Joan Rivers recently. But I watched a documentary about her a couple of months ago. And, at one time she was kind of, no one wanted to hire her. She was, almost, with no pun intended, dead. And she couldn't get any work. And she actually showed her calendar book, her appointment book, and it was blank. And she started getting these little opportunities that probably at her level of a career she wouldn't, or most people wouldn't have taken. And as a result of that, other things started to come out of those little opportunities. And she says you walk through every door that opens because you don't know what's going to be, what's going to be that one door, or as I say, what's going to be on that other side. And I think that that's so important. And I think that we often miss an opportunity to expand our business world because we're not really conscious of this and looking for it. Now, some of it is about confidence. There are some people that are just not confident, and as a result of that, they're a little intimidated to do things. But the only way you get beyond that and grow through that point is to push yourself and get yourself to do it. And something that even happened to me recently, which has been really quite extraordinary for me, and also I kind of mentioned this as a joke when we were talking about that my phone was buzzing with the app message that we're live here, is that I never ask you to do something that I don't do myself in my own business as I grow my business. And I push myself out of my comfort zone and I look for opportunities. And that's why this is so important. And about a little less than a year ago, you'll see how like convoluted certain things are. My daughter and I were in Italy. She was on a mountaintop, or we were on a mountaintop, and she was having this beautiful ceremony. She was being bat mitzvahed. And when we were at dinner, the rabbi's husband just said to me in conversation, what is it that you do for a living? And I think I said something like, I do small business marketing and teach how to really get your message out there and be effective and things like that. And I didn't really make a big deal out of it. It wasn't a business meeting, obviously. But what happened as a result of that little comment was this particular rabbi, who happens to be the only female rabbi in Italy, was looking to create new awareness for what she does. And I guess in a conversation with her husband, he had mentioned that I had made a passing comment about this. Long story short, when she called me and asked me if I could help her, and I said, well, what is it that you're looking to do so I know if I can help you? And she said, I want to increase my awareness. I have really no virtual presence other than a small website. And we went on to build her this really incredible virtual platform. We managed the development of a beautiful new website. We built all her social media platforms, taught her the proper ways to do certain communications on social media. We're even training her on how to do Google Hangouts, which are coming, and so on and so forth. And she had recently had a movie that was released, and she was coming to a premiere in New York, and she invited me. Now, here's the part that's important. I did not want to go. It was a Sunday night, which traffic in New York is horrible. And it was just one of those things, and I just said, I don't really need to go to this. But I went, and I thought it would be nice for my daughter and I to see her. What happened there was she introduced me to the producer of the movie as, this is Dr. Randi Ross. She's the one that helped me build my new website and got me on YouTube and all these other great things that I'm doing now. And he said, really, I would love to talk to you. Well, that turned into a conversation about they wanted to take this movie and turn it into a DVD for market, and they didn't know really an effective way to go about that. I have now become a partner in this journey between Rabbi Ello and Carl Perkel, who is the producer of the movie. And I found myself in this whole new business venture. We managed the packaging. We managed, how it's being produced and how it's being distributed. And as a result of what I have done, and a few of these things I didn't even know. I learned along the way, and that's okay. That's an important message. I'm not telling you, if you're a realtor that you should go do brain surgery, but there are very often things that you may not necessarily know or master that you can learn when opportunities arise, as long as you're willing to do the work to learn that. And actually, even Dr. Allen was instrumental in helping me learn some of these details to do this. And the producer was so impressed with everything that myself and my company have done for them that they've actually invited us to partner with them on 5 future movies that they're doing. So I'm going to actually become part of a production team, and I'm not going to be blocking and doing all that stuff, but we're managing kind of the business end of things. And the reason why I tell you this story is not to brag or anything like that. The reason is, if I didn't go to that event, if I didn't take the time, actually had dinner with the producer, another trip into New York City for me is a pretty far drive. If I didn't take the time to do those things, if I didn't listen, we're going to talk a lot about this, if I didn't listen to what their needs were, I wouldn't even know that I could provide a service. If I didn't listen to what their challenges were, I wouldn't even know what I can offer. And I think that that's such a huge thing where we all miss opportunities, because we kind of have this agenda of what we feel we can offer. And as a result of that, we never really hear people say what their needs are. And Dr. Allen, I think you agree with me, health practitioners, as we are, and a lot of what we work with, are really guilty of this, that often we're not even listening to what the patient really wants out of the service we have. We just think we know what they need, which obviously in healthcare, there's, parameters for that as well. So I hear you unmuting, Dr. Allen. I know you want to jump in here.
Well, I wanted you to add one piece to the story that you left out, which I think is an important piece. And that is that, and this is the piece, because when you brought up doctors and healthcare, and sometimes we don't listen to what the patient says, and we don't even pay attention to what they need, because we always think that what we have is what they need. And one of the problems with that is that not every person that comes to you is a potential patient of yours. Sometimes they don't belong in your office, and sometimes we offer a service based on our needs and how needy we are. And as a consequence, what happens is you wind up taking a patient that shouldn't be there for a number of different reasons. They don't get better, maybe they get worse, and as a consequence, they leave and run around telling everyone that you didn't help them, so you get negative press out of it. And of course, what I wanted you to add to the story was that your first contact with the rabbi and going in that direction was not based on your needs. It was really based on what you could offer her as a service. So the financial reward wasn't the motivating factor for you in order to get involved in that. So you were interested in finding out what she needed, or interested in providing that service and seeing how you could help her. And the rewards you got were, and are still getting, obviously, is a consequence of your willing to give of yourself to take on this new project prior to you ever seeing any kind of financial reward, or not even knowing if there was going to be one, because you saw that opportunity, you saw that door open, and you walked through it.
And that's 1,000% right, Dr. Allen. And I think that sometimes we, like I said, we limit ourselves. And as a result of that, we also miss opportunities because we think we fit in this box and we can never get outside of it. I mean, this example is perfect. I never had anything to do with a movie. I mean, I make videos, and Dr. Allen here has taught me how to edit them, and I'm pretty good at that. But it would never even occur to me to be a part of a movie project on a business level, and basically heading up their entire marketing team and their entire marketing department now and in future projects. So, making sure that you don't limit yourself, even in your head. I think sometimes we limit ourselves in our head, and then things might even be said to us and we're not even hearing them. It's about having a certain level of consciousness, and I might use the word as to paying attention. I think also with our constant bombardment with information, as well as the constant messages and all these things that are going on, we're not always paying attention. And in instances when you're with people, shut off your phone and put that down. You're going to hear, I guarantee you, if you really pay attention and you really listen, you're going to create opportunities for yourself that weren't there. And I don't know what those are, and neither do you. And we never know where all this is going to go. I never thought helping a rabbi build a website and a YouTube channel was going to turn into my company being a part of a movie production team. So you don't know where things go, and don't limit yourself by saying, well, I don't know that that's something I could do. Again, let me say, if you're a realtor, I don't want you doing brain surgery, but I could have very easily missed this opportunity by saying, well, I don't know anything about the movie production business. I could have very easily done that, but I didn't do that, okay, because I was listening, and what I heard was a need they had, And what I do translates in many ways. We just tweak it. Same thing for any of you that are in business. You have a service, but there's a lot of ways you can provide that service if you know what the person needs. And like Dr. Allen said, it's listening to what their needs are, adjusting what you have to offer to fit their needs and solve their problem. But a lot of people just shut things down and say, oh no, that's not for me. Or the biggest thing is they're not listening. You know, and you hear me say this time and time and time again. If God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, you're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. And don't go into any kind of meeting or group or anything like that. Don't go in with an agenda in your head. You know, that's where you limit yourself as well. You know, go in to listen to what people, what they're about, what they have to offer. And you'll hear things. I tell people this all the time. When you listen in your head, in the middle of a conversation, you don't want to jump in and go, oh, I can help you with that. You want to just kind of make a little mental note, but you're going to hear things. And in your head, you're going to go, I can help them with that, or I can do that. And maybe it's writing an article for someone, or maybe it's, you know, being interviewed. They have a hangout program and they're looking for guests. And you fill a need there. You can be one of their featured guests. And those of us that do hangouts every week, we're always looking for new guests. That's, you know, part of the process of what we do. So you most likely, in many, if not most situations, you have the ability to contribute. You have the ability or the knowledge to solve a problem. And very often, and here's an important point too that creates opportunities that a lot of us are just not really in that state of consciousness. Even if it's not you, you know, I'll just keep using the same example. If I was a realtor and I was in a meeting with someone that was doing a health show and looking for guests, just because I don't fill that bill, so to speak, you know, but who do I know? Who do I know? Oh, I know Dr. Alan Weinstein. He would be a perfect guest on your show. I'm going to call him later when I get home, and I'm going to let him know that we met. And then we'll have a conference call together or a video call where I can introduce you. I know he's going to be a great guest. Well, even though I didn't have that specialized knowledge, I still look like a superstar because I introduced them to Dr. Allen, who's going to be a great guest on their show. You know, and there's so many ways that we talk about these things where you can get involved and you could be part of someone's solution, or you could be part of an initiative, or you can do so many things that create opportunities, but you put yourself in this box and you close it out and you just go, well, I'm a realtor. I have nothing to offer your health and wellness show. You know, but think, you always have to think about being a problem solver, because that person telling me about that they have a health and wellness show every week is an opportunity for me. Whether you realize that or not, that's an opportunity, if not for me directly, again, for me to make an introduction, and then it's still my name rolling off their tongue going, oh, Dr. Randi introduced me to Dr. Alan Weinstein. He was a great guest. And then you don't know what other doors open as a result of that. Dr. Allen?
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, I'll just give a prime example of that. And that is, we had 3 guests on the show, actually 2 guests on the show. And both of those guests, one we were talking about, I believe, with Kathy Brown about social media and medical health professionals. And we had Jean who talked about email, I believe, both from, Jean was from Canada, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember her last name because I think she has 2 last names.
It's Eaton.
Eaton, that's right. But she also goes by another last name I found out well, anyway, that's correct, Jean. Anyway, so I wound up contacting both of them, and actually through Jean, I met somebody else, and I actually introduced both of them to a company, a malpractice company I do marketing for, Chiro Secure, which also deals with health professionals, the chiropractic profession, and they're now going to be on the live show we do for Chiro Secure because they had some great information for healthcare professionals. So we're going to be doing a live show with each of them and the third person they introduced me to. So there's a prime example. They came on this show that we do every week and probably didn't expect what would be the next step from that. But now I am already engaging them with another client of mine. And now they're going to be involved in that. And who knows where that goes, because they're going to get exposure to thousands and thousands of healthcare practitioners about what they do. And they're going to provide a great show because it's all up-to-date communication about social media, the way you use email and so forth and so on. So they benefit. We benefited by having them on the show. Kairos Secure will benefit when it's on their show. All the doctors that watch that will benefit from being on their show. And then we're going to take them on the road with the CEO of Kairos Secure, Stu Hoffman, and we're going to be doing things with other people in the healthcare space, talking about the same kind of things because it's such a great topic. So there you go. I also wanted to say that there's a new book out by Jack and Susie Welsh. Jack Welsh, of course, was the famous CEO of General Electric for many, many years. Anyway, they wrote a book called The Future of Leadership, and they have three career advice tips for thriving in the new economy. And a lot of people don't realize we're really in a new economy. Things have changed so dramatically, especially in the healthcare world because of the use of the internet, tools like the one we're using where you now can communicate with an audience, putting on live presentations, which unfortunately most doctors don't do, although we try to teach them to do that. And with our system program, of course, that's part of the system. We do teach them how to do that. But he says, as always, this is what they say in a Forbes article, as always, over-deliver when it comes to performance, do more than is asked for and expected, which is exactly what Dr. Randi was talking about with her connection now with this new film team and how she got there. Exude positive energy, be someone everyone else wants to hang out with. And not only on your skills in terms of what you know, because you could be a pain in the butt and have a lot of knowledge and no one wants to work with you. And the last thing that they say is be curious and never stop learning. And so even if you might be getting into something new that, like Dr. Randi said, where you're not really, I've never been involved in a movie production team or group as she's going to be doing now, that's okay. She's curious and she's going to learn how to do that and master how to do that, just as she's mastered how to do Google Hangouts and all the technological stuff she does with people. So interesting new book on the same day we're talking about this stuff, The Future of Leadership by Jack Welsh and Susie Welsh, of which they're not a paid sponsor. And who knows, maybe talking about they'll become a paid sponsor.
Well, maybe we'll reach out to Jack Welsh and get him on a hangout. You never know.
There you go. I'm all for that.
Well, Dr. Allen, I can't even say that I read Jack Welch's book, but I'm going to tell you that some of my notes, the next thing I was going to say is some of the things, a couple of things that I think are really important about creating opportunities for yourself is if you're a business person in a community, especially this time of year is perfect. And there's all kinds of community events. There's this health fair, there's this day, there's that day. I don't necessarily think you have to participate in everything, although that would make me feel warm and fuzzy if you did. But you should at least take an hour out of your Saturday and go walk around. Not so much to necessarily be a part of it. When I say that, I mean, you may not be there for the services, so to speak, but talk to all the exhibitors. Dr. Allen, I had a mentor years ago, a gentleman by the name of Bill Pike. And he was like one of these Texas billionaires that I was in a company that he was with. And we used to do events. And back then I was always attached to the outcome. How many people stopped at our table? How many people did we talk to? How many people did this, that? And he used to say, I don't even care about that. He used to say with a big Southern accent, but I don't care about that. He thought it was more important to walk around and engage all the exhibitors. That's where he got business from. So he used to do that. He would come to an event with us and we'd have this beautiful, really expensive booth and this and that. He would spend an hour walking around talking to the exhibitors and he would get 10 times the business we did standing there all weekend. So just go out to an event, engage people, find out what they're about, find out what their company or product is in your community. Don't just make it where you're handing out your business card. Hi, I'm Dr. Ross. I'm the chiropractor in town. Remember, it's about engagement. That's how opportunities are created. What Dr. Allen said that Jack Welch talks about in his book, I say all the time. Go out there, be happy, be energetic, have this great energy where people want to meet you and talk to you. And guess what? That's what they remember. You know, people remember. We had a guest on maybe a few months ago or a few weeks ago, I'm not sure now. And he's a chiropractor that Dr. Allen and I know, Lyle Kocha. And Lyle has the most amazing energy when you're in his presence. I mean, literally, it's like there's energy balls, like you want to jump up and down when you're near him. And he's happy and he hugs you. And you could never forget Lyle. I don't care who you were. You want to be that great, smiling, happy, great energy person and go out and spend an hour and just go to an event and talk to the people in your community. I guarantee you opportunities are going to happen. That's the first tip that I give to anyone. And it doesn't really matter what you do. You might do something like I'm going to do this in my town this weekend. There's a couple of events. I'm going to go out and walk around and talk to people. You know, everybody needs what I do. So we're going to go out and we're going to talk to people. The other thing is something that Dr. Allen was just talking about. If you're invited to be a guest on a webinar, a hangout, a radio show, maybe even a TV spot on your local, you know, cable channel. And I don't care if you've never done it before and it scares you to death, just do it. Just do it to the best of your ability because opportunities will happen. I can tell you that I get messages or you know, Skype messages or emails or whatever it might be, whoever they communicate with me all the time about people that want me to be a guest on their show because they follow this show that Dr. Allen and I do. Dr. Allen mentioned Jean Eaton. That's how I met Jean a few months ago. She sent me an email. She said, I've been following your Hangouts for over a year. We have this particular kind of show up in Canada, and I would really love for you to be a guest. I think what you can contribute would be of great value to our listeners. And I get those messages all the time, and I'm always on Hangouts. Dr. Allen probably clocks more hours on Google Hangouts than most people work in a week. So these are all the different ways that you can do things, and it's just the beginning of what happens. The other thing that you can do that creates a lot of opportunities is you can, you know, contact local newspapers or radio shows or anything about your specialty. I mean, we'll use a health provider as an example because that's what a lot of our viewers are and who we work with. But if you have a particular, you know, topic and or maybe multiple topics on your area of expertise, you know, create a blog, create an article, and submit these things. Nobody says they're going to get picked up all the time, but if you do it on a regular basis, you're viewed as an authority. And then they do want to hear what you have. Look, you know, the bottom line is most, whether they're, you know, from a newspaper, whether there's some kind of journalist, you know, a radio producer, a TV producer, they're looking for content. They don't want to create this stuff. So if you have this information, if you have an article and you can show them, you know, the different areas of research that possibly some of that information comes from. And then you have a blog on it and it's also in your newsletter and so on and so forth. And if you could even create questions that they would ask you if they interviewed you, guess what? You're doing the work for them. They love people like that. These are all the little things that you can do to create opportunities. And again, don't get discouraged because you go out and you have one lunch or you go to one meeting or you go on one hangout or you submit one article. It's all about repetition. I was doing hangouts. I'm going to say I didn't start getting invitations from other people that I didn't know. People that I know is one thing, but from people that I didn't know, I'm going to say it took probably about a year. I was probably doing this for about 12 months before I actually started getting communications from people that I did not know at all, had no contact with them. We weren't friends on Facebook or anything else, but they found me and they were following me. And I have to tell you that I came to Hangouts kicking and screaming. I mean, literally there was like, you know, like heel marks in my carpet, and Dr. Allen kept saying, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I don't even know how many excuses I made, how long I put it off for. And in the beginning, I think I was terrible at it. But like anything else, you get better. just be persistent, learn. I'm always learning on ways that we can do things better, like Dr. Allen said. And that's what people want. You stay curious, you're willing to learn, you're happy and you're energetic and you're not like a bummer, like people want to be around you and they feel good and it's a good experience. That's really what people are looking for, and that you have something to contribute either directly because you have specialized knowledge, or I can tell you, we have people that I train that go, I train people often on how to do what I call relationship marketing. And just as an example, we had someone, as a realtor actually, that I trained on how to go meet with local politicians to find out about things that are going on in the community, because they know things you don't, and that's okay, that's their job, it's not yours. And as a result of that, they just were talking, and it just so happened that he happened to say something to her about some kind of wellness program they were having. Now, obviously, as a realtor, she doesn't have a vast amount of knowledge on different health topics, but just interestingly enough, her husband is in the healthcare industry, and he's a doctor. So she said, oh, you know what? Let me have my husband call you, because I think he'd be a great resource for you, and through with him and his colleagues, that they really might be able to help you spearhead that. And I would love to help you head up that committee as well and help organize things. So even though she is not in the healthcare industry, she went into this meeting just trying to find out what's going on in the community that I can help with. I'm a local business person. I care about our community. You know, what can I help you with? And again, because I trained her, she was trained to listen and not talk. And through the course of the conversation, this representative kind of revealed to her one of his pet projects right now is a wellness initiative in their town. So she was trained well enough that even if she didn't happen to have a husband that was a doctor, she has enough contacts in the community that she still would have reached out and said, let me reach out to some of my contacts that are health providers in the community and help you get that initiative going. So those are the things, the biggest mistakes that people make is, again, you're so wrapped up in yourself and your day and what you want to tell people that you're not listening. That's probably the biggest mistake. The other thing is, don't prejudge. Don't think that that person, there's no opportunities there for me, because I can tell you, if I look back on my career, some of my biggest opportunities were and alliances were in the strangest places, people that I never thought would really open a door for me that was amazing. So that's something we always have to kind of check ourselves on, is don't prejudge, because you don't know who that person knows. And what was, let me see, there was a couple other ones.
While you're looking, I just wanted to add one piece to that, what you just said, and then you could jump in and finish it, because I didn't know where you were going with that. But also, and talking about that real estate connection, you never know how the people that you connect with can open up other doors for you that you don't expect. Just looking at our relationship, just the things that we've done back and forth, even if it's something as minor as, hey, we've been working together for the last 5 years. I need a testimonial for my new website. And, you know, so I gave one to you, you gave one to me. And those testimonials are sincere and honest about, you know, the relationship, but you never know how those things go. Or you might have something that I need, and I know that's a level of expertise that you have. And the relationship is such where I could say, hey, Dr. Randi, you know, I need this. Can you create this for me? Or do you know how I can create it? Or vice versa. You know, maybe it's a software, maybe it's a program. It doesn't matter what it is. And ultimately, you know, the same situation, looking at the VIP app, you are going to include the apps in a lot of the work that you do with your clients. Rather than you have to build your own apps and spend tens of thousands of dollars figuring it out, you're able to tap into that through me. And then I benefit at the same time, because there are people that are using my apps and buying my apps. So it all comes back together, and you never know, you know, the time, energy. You know, how many hours have you and I done things that has spent months putting something together that may not have even worked? and we worked on it, right? Blood, sweat, and tears. It didn't work, but it doesn't matter. Like we've learned things, we accomplished things, we found out about new things that were turned out to be very, very valuable things to use in terms of internet marketing and creating products that we never would have had, the opportunity to learn and do. So everything is a benefit unless you come from a very needy place and you decide to build your relationships and get involved because of your needs and not their needs. And then you could pretty much rest assured that will explode in your face.
Absolutely. It's really all about walking through doors. It's all about, in my opinion, it's all about listening. Now, is there an element of maybe being in the right place at the right time? Yeah, there's a little bit of that, from time to time. It depends upon how esoteric you are, how much value you want to put on that. But I think it's just really important. Again, we could take our cues from Joan Rivers, and there was someone who, at 80 was more famous than she was when she was 50, because she got a phone call from her friend Donald Trump that said, come be on The Apprentice. And she's thinking, I'm like 75 years old or 70 years old. What do I want to be on a show like that for? What do I have to offer it, there? But
did she win? And she won, right?
She was the winner. She was the first winner. And as she would even have told it relaunched her career. So, it just, you just never know. Hey, look, 10 years from now, I might be part of the production team and marketing company for Steven Spielberg. I don't know.
Right, you never know. And the other thing is, I think another lesson from Joan Rivers that is well worth learning, and that is be who you are. That's one thing about Joan Rivers. She might have been, some people might have found her language a little bit over the top, or the way she talked about things, her attitude, how she ripped people to shreds, but that was who she was, and that's who she was, and she was most effective being herself, and that's, I think, also something worth learning.
Absolutely. Well, there's a few tips. Get out there, talk to people. Oh no, let me correct myself. Get out there and listen to people. Pay attention. Don't be answering text messages while you're engaged with people. That's a big no. First of all, it's rude, but second of all, you're gonna miss things, and really start to train yourself. It's a state of awareness that I think, and I'll include myself in this, that certain people have, especially people that are successful. I think there's a certain awareness that you kind of become keen to not miss opportunities, whereas a lot of people kind of walk around with this filter, and you're just missing so many things. So be engaging, listen to people, you'll hear places, and remember, don't put yourself in a box. Just because you're not the doctor sitting with a state senator looking for people to help them with a wellness initiative doesn't mean you can't make those connections and be part of that process. So always kind of keep that example in mind. You have something to offer everyone. It just might not be in the conventional way that you're used to. Well, I'm going to throw it back to Dr. Allen to close us out for this week's episode. Thanks for listening.
Well, you've been listening to Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. Today's episode was brought to you by the William David Company, Rethinking Small Business Marketing. Make sure you check out that free virtual engagement rating at www.williamdavidcompany.com. I'm actually going to be going there after the show to take my free virtual virtual engagement rating. I haven't done that yet, so I'm excited to do that. And of course, Community Wellness Day. Every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day. The System, the official coaching marketing program of healthcare professionals everywhere. The VIP app, the only application that allows you to bring your live hangouts just like this one to the smartphones, tablets, and desktops of all those people that have you in their circle. And of course, Google in 10 minutes, a step-by-step guide for all things Google for your business. Visit tinyurl.com/Google in 10. On behalf of myself, I'm Dr. Alan Weinstein and my co-host, Dr. Randi Ross. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great day, everybody.